I would like to welcome Joe Chow, Director of Australian Badminton League, to present the runners-up medals. The runners-up of the mixed doubles, Gyojin Hua and Chen Fong Wei from China. And I'd like to welcome Paul SATHIO, Chairman of SATHIO Group, to make the presentation to our winners. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the 2024 mixed doubles, Zhang Zhenbang and Wei Yanjin from China. And lastly, I'd like to have Wang Xiaoyu, the Australian Open International China Ambassador, to present the gifts. Ladies and gentlemen, your mixed doubles finalists.
So big congratulations to our mixed doubles champions. Coming up next is the women's singles final. Ester Nurumi Wardoyo versus Ohori. Don't go anywhere. So on we go with the final Sunday here at the Australian Open, and after that wonderful win from Zhang Zhenbang and Wei Yanjin, it is the women's singles. Ester Nurumi Wardoyo taking on Ohori, an all-seeded affair. Number 7 seed taking on the number 2 seed. This was their run to the final. As you can see, Ester Wardoyo first took out her compatriot Komang Dewi, and it was Pai Yupo in the semi-finals. For Ohori, it was a benefited retirement from Sung Sho Yoon in the semi-finals, but a good win over Putri Kusuma Wardani in the quarters. So looking at the women's singles ranking as of the 4th of June in the race to the finals, Wang Zhiyi had great performances recently, topping the list. An So-young, of course, as you'd expect, on that list as well. 3 Chinese shuttlers in the top 10, along with Han Yue and Chen Yufei. And also look at that, 4 Thai singles players in the top 10 as well. Well, a lot of eyes have been on this young 18-year-old from Indonesia. She's put in some really great results since the Uber Cup, which is when she really kind of hoodwinked the world, as they say, Aaron, by taking out some big opponents. Kim Ga-rum and Supanita Ketong especially felt the brunt of her game. Since then, she's kind of galvanized, got a lot of confidence in. Going to have a work cut out for her against the famous yellow sneakers of Aya Ohori. Well, Aaron, for you, this women's singles final, do they both deserve to be here on Final Sunday?
They definitely both deserve to be here. We're looking at them, but you said Esther's taken out Kim Ga, the woman who took out
Kim Ga-rum, not Kim Ga, Kim Ga-rum in the Uber Cup. So Kim Ga-rum is definitely the other Kim Ga. As you can see, 2-0 in the head-to-head. The last time they met was at the Uber Cup finals, and that was won in 3 games by Aya Ohori. So she was almost another scalp for Esther.
Black, gold.
Joshua Ho. Coin toss.
Black. Decide and service. Receive, service.
With assistant for the coin toss, I noticed, for the Hawaiian finals. It's not the service charge. Service charge is going to be Xian Lim. Well, first ever HSBC World Tour finals for Ester Wardoyo, younger sister of Chica Wardoyo. So I'm sure she's got a few tips as to how to perform and how to kind of generally deal with travel, the training, and the, you know, the output you need on the tour. So this really her first senior year. For Ohori, of course, a lot more experience when it comes down to it, but this is her second final, Aya. So 18 years old, born in Jayapura, currently ranked 31. And I'm guessing over the next few years, with the training focus she's going to get from the Indonesian singles coaching department, that might just, of course, rise a couple of bit. It really does depend on her results. And of course, a win here in the final is going to really help that. But so far, she has this year, she was out the first round last year, quarterfinal at the Spain Masters and the Thai Masters. These were her 4 opponents to get to the final. Huang in 31 minutes, Malvika Banso in 51 minutes. Komang Dewi, her compatriot, in 42, and Pai Yupo in 41. Hasn't dropped a game yet. Pushed against Banso, but managed to come through. Now, well, I guess, yes, there she is. Aya Ohori's been in great form, 27-year-old from Fukushima. She's currently ranked 11th. Because of her great performances recently, she's about to go to 10th. It's the first time she's broken the top 10. That'll be next week, as I understand it. Semi-finalist last year, quarterfinalist at the Badminton Asian Championships, the Swiss Open, the French Open, and she also, of course, won the Malaysia Masters. Her results so far: Lean 27 minutes, Ines Castillo in 26 minutes. Straight games. Putri Wardani was a little bit more stretched, but not much, 41 minutes, and then that unfortunate retirement for Sung Sho Yoon. But she was definitely playing very well in that, just 29 minutes. Has to be, Aaron, the overwhelming favorite here.
Well, very much. She has many Grand Prix final appearances.
Yeah.
But it's still a sense of occasion.
Sorry?
Going up to Super 500 in a final.
As you'd expect from an 18-year-old, still a little bit rough around the edges, but as they get underway, I'm sure Joshua Ho's going to get proceedings going right now. There he is in the umpire's chair. There is Xian Lim in the service judge position.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Aya Ohori, Japan. And on my left, Ester Nurumi Wardoyo, Indonesia. Aya Ohori to serve, love all, play.
Well, as they get underway, Aaron, the first question is, what attributes do you think Ester has that has taken her on this journey so far?
I must admit, there are some players where I wait and watch them live one day. So
Right.
this is the first time I'm seeing Ester apart from
So you've
peripheral vision.
you've heard the stories. Well, that's a great cross-court winner immediately. For my, I said I've watched a couple of her matches, not live. I've watched the recorded ones on the BWF YouTube channel. But big shot maker. She's a massive shot maker. Her recovery is actually pretty good too. And there's also this almost never say die attitude that she likes to push. You know, her head never drops even if she's down. And that's why she's taken out some of these big scalps. And as we saw in the head-to-head, Aya Ohori was almost another one of those scalps, but she came through in 3 games at the Uber Cup. But Ester definitely one of the reasons why Indonesia had such a great run at the Uber Cup finals.
Well, I'm definitely looking out to see whether Ester comes from a particular tradition of women's singles from Indonesia. They haven't seemingly concentrated on that particular discipline as a priority, but there have been certain Indonesian styles of players, Suzy Susanti and Mio Dina Jiptawan and Tunjung, all have a quite wristy way of playing.
Yeah, and very useful around the net. There's always proof of that. Shot maker sees the opportunity, takes it. That might just be from being 18.
It might be, but talking about the Indonesian style of play, it was very Mia Ordina-esque shot. Not quite produced the way Mia does it, but still looking for that shot.
Well, so far at 4-1 up, and I know it is early on in this final, but she does not seem to be overawed at all for her first final.
Service over. 2-4.
I think it's fair to say for Ohori, last year's semi-final, which was on paper very doable, I think the sense of occasion might have been too much for her in that semi-final.
Yeah. Kim Ga-eun was the opponent.
Service over.
There were many missed opportunities, which she would want to make amends for in Sydney again. Now that she's gone one stage further and one day further in competition, Aya Ohori.
Well, as is the case with all the other disciplines, new champion. That's a wonderful
Oh,
return.
that shot again.
That's great. Well, Ohori being picked off left and right now. Not getting a chance to get into the rallies because at the earliest possible opportunity, Wardoyo is firing off winners and very safe winners as well. They have not been anywhere close to being out.
And Ohori has neutralized some really fast-paced players. Carolina Marin, for one.
Yeah, she's certainly already not happy with her start, Aya Ohori. That was a bread and butter shot. Yes, I completely agree. Yeah, she's certainly taken it to some of the big guns. New champion, as I said, Baewon Zhang and Kim Ga-eun was the final last year. Baewon won that. Wow.
8.
She's not 100% clicking at the net, and she's certainly not getting any opportunities for winners. It's 8-2. Well left. Frustration for Ohori.
9-2. Service over.
So Ohori gets the service back, and of course this tournament has been very much, even with all the withdrawals, redemption for Indonesian badminton. There were no finalists at the Indonesia Open from Indonesia, and of course China was dominating the finals in Singapore as well. But here you've got Kusuma and Prativi in the women's doubles. You've got Ahsan and Setiawan in the men's doubles, and
9.
Esther here doing very well in the women's singles.
It must be said, though, that the Asian country tournaments, their stadiums are much larger. The conditions are not as stable. So
Yeah, that's true. That, I mean, Indonesia was very breezy, let's put it that way.
5-9.
But it was a surprise for the likes of Jonathan Christie and Anthony Sinusuka Ginting to be out so early in Indonesia. Of course, both of them withdrew from this tournament. Preparation for Paris, which is just 6 weeks away now. Oh, beautiful shot from Wardoyo. That was
Service
really
over.
tricky. Only really see how good it was on the replay. Well, he just saw Ohori's reaction. She had no idea how to respond to that. 10-5 on the brink of the mid-game interval, and looking good so far.
Service over.
it is a bit hard to
6,
talk about this
10.
match at this point in time because Ohori's not playing characteristically. Also because forced by Wardoyo.
Yeah, she's not getting the opportunities, and she's certainly not having the run that she's had this week.
So we can't quite point out Ohori's signature shots yet because there's
haven't
no
been any,
opportunity to
yes.
hit them. But this kind of longer rally, we should be able to see a chance for her to pull it out.
That's certainly more like it. There you go. That's more like what we've seen from her this week.
That's right. Ohori tends to hit these shots where there's a little bit of slice on it. So it goes straight, as it were, but it curves a little bit. So you have to keep, on your feet as the opponent.
Left-hander as well.
Make small adjustments to your footwork, even though you sort of think you know where it's going.
That right corner has been her general favored target, being a lefty, another lefty on court. And that's in.
Ohori beginning to settle.
Well, the other thing that young players tend to do, I've noticed, is they tend to overuse certain areas, like whether it's, and in their minds that they're covering the entire match, but like that, I think that Wardoyo has possibly left too many at the back, and that's never, it's not going to work all the time. That's another one, which, oh, that was a serve.
That's gone, didn't go in.
11-8.
And service, always, especially high serve, it tells you state of mind because it's such an easy serve to get in. So Ohori unsettled going into the first interval.
Twenty seconds. 20 seconds. Thank you, coaches.
Even one thing we shouldn't miss out mentioning is the Indonesian side has some insight into the Japanese game. That Indonesian coach has worked for a long time in Japan.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have that kind of knowledge, it can always help. It's fast play from Wardoyo, and that's what she's been doing. We've seen Ohori, if she can get into that pattern, and she's used to a certain tempo, especially this week, then she can find her opportunity. But Ester's been speeding up the points and intercepting them halfway, finding the space left and right, and Ohori left a little bit out in the cold. That's a nice touch, a little hold, and a drop into right side front court.
Exploring the net area has been something Ohori has been doing all week, and it's been achieving success.
Thank you.
That's the thing with Ohori. When she can settle, that's when we'll see the full version of Ohori.
Well, so far, for her first ever Super 500 final, she's been doing very well. She has picked up a Super 100 title before. It was Chu Pinchan who we saw in action earlier this week. The Indonesia Masters, the Super 100 version. It's a big step up from 100 to 500.
Well, both of them will make history. Both of them each have a first chance at a 500.
Yeah.
I've been saying earlier in the week as well that a big thing that players need to train for is to be able to play when you're not hot. Ohori not quite got that dimension, not that I've seen over the years. It's worrying, but she's closing the gap.
Yeah, she certainly has picked it up a bit, looking a little bit more settled. I say a little bit more settled. She still looks a little rattled, to be honest. But if she can claw it up, tie it up at 13 all, then perhaps she can start exerting the control.
Ohori taking the initiative now.
Oh, she's pushed that one. She actually, if you look at her reactions, she was tracking that all the way after it left the racket. Wasn't sure where it was going to land. 14-10.
But that's a tick. Sense of urgency for Ohori. That was the right time, despite the unforced error.
Well, she has to start channeling all that extra experience she has from playing on the tour. One thing Ester has is a lot of potential. I mean, a lot of potential.
Well, from what I've seen so far, Ester's got a compact way of hitting, which is why she can hit quite hard with very quick execution of her shots. She doesn't need a big wind-up for,
get that
especially
hand
the
speed.
forehand.
Yeah, yeah. Racket head speed, that's what it's all about. Nice little touch in, and this is good from Ohori.
14.
Adapted slightly. First challenge coming.
Ester Nurumi Wardoyo challenges called in.
And it was called in for a reason. I guess it isn't. Now both of these players have had some experience at the World Junior Championships. Wardoyo, double bronze medalist, girls singles mixed team in 2022. Ohori, well, 5-time medalist, 2 silvers, that was 2012 and 2013. 3 bronzes on top of that. And that's what I mean about the experience that she needs to start pulling on.
15-13.
But still having trouble with that corner. Her favored corner all week, and that's another point for Wardoyo. And another mistake for Ohori.
Wow, that's really a wow shot. So
It is.
Service over. 14.
She's not 100%.
oh,
Nobody
it
ever
didn't
is.
go in.
No, it didn't. It
But
was out.
I'd still be worried if I was
Oh,
Ohori.
I mean,
she has that angle.
She has the angle. She, found that open court, and she was only a few centimeters off. Let's face it, if less. Body shot, good idea from Ohori. Trying to peg her back court. That's well left. That's where she might be able to start really harvesting some points, and that's an important turning point in this first game because she was trailing, and now she started up at 15.
And it's important, on a related point to what I made before, it's important for all players, singles players especially, because they have to depend completely on themselves to win a point without your signature shot.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's another one. Now she's beginning to find that area.
Ester Nurumi, Wardoyo challenges called
Because of
out.
course the coach of the other side will say, you want to deprive her of a signature shot, this is her signature shot. So Ohori's signature shot tends to be some kind of slicey type clear or half smash.
Yeah. Very much out. So Esther certainly a bit rattled now.
Challenge.
She's done enough
Challenge
by
unsuccessful.
pressuring from mid-court Ohori to
16-15.
just
Play.
take Esther's targeting off a little. And that's a first lead for Ohori. It's wonderful from Wardoyo. Flawed. Absolutely flawed.
Ohori still finding the power dimension of Wardoyo.
It's just a little bit too much to
Just
handle,
a
yeah.
little bit too much.
There's absolutely nothing she could do about that.
Young, check the ball.
And,
Ohori
that's yeah. Go ahead.
comes from a tradition of Japanese women's singles players. She doesn't exactly visually play like Yamaguchi, Okuhara, Eriko Hirose before her. But we know that all the Japanese players have this running ability. So that's something she should call on. I think she's already calling on it, which is why the scores are locked.
But that's also a great visual image for Wardoyo to have in her head that her opponent was flawed. There you go. There's that confidence building again. It's the business end of this first game.
17-16.
That's big, and it's going to be finished. And that's the thing. She just can't leave them. No, though she didn't have much of a choice, has to be said. But
16.
if it comes back that high, Wardoyo can apparently pick a spot. Almost at will. Oh, I think the 18-year-old's done pretty well. After Ohori tied it up at 15. But as I said, she never, drops her head. She just keeps going. That's what Supanida and Kim Garam found very irritating in terms of putting out their play. That's gone wide.
Well, some coaches, they teach their players to look like they're never losing no matter what the scoreline. So you have to visually, optics-wise, look like you're never losing if there were no score shown on the screen.
Ester, play.
Little things like that, I'm sure, will be ironed out over the next few years. So very easy to forget that she's 18 years old and this is her first season on the tour. What a wonderful shot that was. That's what I mean about the raw potential for shot making.
17.
And if you hone it into general court craft, it's gonna be quite the package at 21, 22. It's gone long. That's it. 3 game points.
20.
And it's extra exciting because we're seeing it in a final. Usually,
You see it in
young
round one,
potential
yeah.
gets cancelled out in the round of 16 because perhaps they meet each other. Like if Wardoyo were playing in the same tournament as Miyazaki, they might cancel each other out just because they're not seeded.
I mean,
but now,
it's helped, as I said, by the huge amount of withdrawals this week. And perhaps that's tweaked the draw a little, but still, you get what you get. And this is very good for her and for us. That's a great pickup by Wardoyo. She's done it 21-17. I say.
it's a lot of perspiration, but she's done it.
Wardoyo, 21-17.
Well, as they get back on court for game 2, very satisfied Indonesia coach, and so he should be.
Second game, level. Play.
Well, we've been talking about how very balanced the conditions have been here at the Key Center, and we're about to find out if those conditions had anything to do. Wardoyo was playing on the better side of the court, and the other side. Let's see if Ohori has a better grip on things from this side.
Fault. Service over.
Saw a little bit of extra sting in that.
One
Look at that body shot. Bit of frustration vented for Ohori.
It helps with the nerves to hit a big shot
Into your opponent.
into your opponent.
Bullet shot, I like to call them. That's big. No, as I said, she's just not feeling it today.
She's
by the
not
looks of it.
feeling it. Even the last few points where she caught up Ohori and she
Yeah,
made the
yeah.
kind of situation she wanted to put her opponent in. just not relaxed enough to be able to execute the next delicate shot.
Well, that was the first game Ohori's dropped all week. That's also going to be weighing on her mind. That's much better. Round the heads, straight down the line.
2-1.
I've been eager to point out for the viewers a shot that Ohori has in common with Naraoka, but Wardoyo has been preventing all of these opportunities, so no chance to point it out yet, viewers.
Well, you'll get one when Naraoka gets on court a little bit later. That's going to be a huge match against Lee Zijia in the men's singles. Always is with those two. Very close head-to-head as well. 3-2, if I recall. That's a nice hold and drop by Wardoyo. Bringing the net into play. That is out again from up here. It looked like it clipped the name. Oh, it's worthy of a challenge. I think she might be right here, Ohori. Wardoyo was in a very good position to see this land.
And I'm of the opinion that badminton players, because they judge length through weight and strength on a shot, you have to find out how far it is away from the line so you can adjust the strength on your shot.
Well, she definitely pushed that. Got one challenge left.
Play.
And the way Wardoyo hits, she might actually need them. It's working.
3-all.
Well, as I said, I saw Wardoyo play recorded a couple of times, and I actually have to say, based on those performances, this was the Kim Ga-rum and the Supanita match. She's actually slowed down. She's taking her time. She's a little bit more patient.
Well, Ohori, not the kind of kinetic player that Supanita is.
Oh, look at that. Reaches over.
4-3.
Just a block into the back court. And she gets her first lead of the second game. Supanita definitely. She's runs down points and is so fast around court. I guess you have to be. That's all. Wow. Good reflexes by Ohori to see that come back.
Service over. 4-all.
The exuberance of an 18-year-old. Loving the game. She's actually enjoying herself.
Miss being 18, don't you?
Yes, it's such a great age, isn't it? I mean, it's got to be even better when you're badminton playing and playing in a final in your 18. I certainly wasn't doing that when I was 18. The defense has been fantastic, Wardoyo. Now she's in charge. Putting enough pressure on. I don't know if Ohori's expecting these shuttles to be coming back like this.
And we also don't know, but it's feasible that Ohori's remembering she was on this court last year, and also, I'm sure she would admit, underperformed on that last match that she played.
Well, there are ranking points, of course. 9,200 for the winner, 7,008 for runner-up at Super 500 level. That would certainly benefit Ester Wardoyo in the infancy of her career. She can't have any excuse about that. She lost control right about here. That's too high, and it was open season for Ohori. 5-all, and she's still not out the woods yet. Well weighted. That
Service
was
over. 6-5.
Well, to keep Japanese fans hopeful, I can't imagine as a professional that Aya Ohori wouldn't have a plan B. So she must be trying to instill this plan B until such time as she
it
feels
cannot
good.
be installed anymore. And it's basically just chasing and being reactive. That was good. Pressuring at the net.
Service over.
A lot of these shots now aimed at the body, making it very difficult for Ester to return. That was just off the right shoulder, which is almost impossible if you think about it.
Ohori's intention is definitely to come to the net,
Yeah.
and she has been coming in. She has found the opportunities. Just that one next shot that she can't execute on.
But I mean, that's different from what she's had to do all week. All week she's been, you know, setting up her stall in mid-court, setting up the big lifts, and then going for the corners. So that's not available anymore.
No,
she just can't
not
do
at
it.
all. What she's had to deal with is that shot,
Yeah.
that power shot from Wardoyo today.
And it's been too powerful. That's better. That's much better. Backhand kill at the net.
Service over. 7-all.
But again, that first game loss is what she has to deal with. That's what's hanging around her neck. 7-all is just not going to help her. It is great that she's keeping pace with the score, and don't get me wrong, but it needs to have that little extra burst, because this is a must-win second game.
Service
Well,
over.
that's headaches coming.
8.
Remember, she's only got one
7.
challenge left. You're not going to waste it on that this early in the second.
And as commentators, we get to see this
No
human
change.
side
Play
of
on.
the story. We all get nervous. We all take time to warm up and solve a problem. And as I said, need to learn how to play through
8,
not being
7.
hot.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the main things of sport. If you can win when you're not playing well, then that's actual true championship quality.
Service over. 8-all.
Well, I'm not going to take away these points from Ohori that are helping. But I still haven't seen her really break down Wardoyo yet.
Well, a great example, just to remind everyone of someone who does play through a non-hot phase, Saina Nehwal.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good at playing through not being hot.
It's a nice bit of deception from Wardoyo, who's, again, just playing out the rally. She doesn't have to do anything else.
Service over. 9-8.
She's shifted her strategy a little as well. She's not looking for the big shots anymore. Ohori's keeping it a bit more flatter. So you can see frustration is building. And Wardoyo willing to keep her running, keep her in the point until that frustration translates to, hopefully, an error, just like that. So this is the first 2-point lead that Wardoyo's had right before the second break. It's good from Ohori, but it's not enough right now. Again, there's that release of frustration a little.
9-10.
Oh, she's pushed that wide as well.
Service over.
So 11-9,
11-9
and
in
Esther
total.
Wardoyo still on track here.
Seconds. 20 seconds. Players back on court.
Well, it'll be all over the back pages of the Indonesian
Oh,
press tomorrow
absolutely.
if
I
Wardoyo
think
does this.
a lot more than just the Indonesian back press. Remember, this was a 3-game win for Ohori the last time they met. She's got a 2-0 head-to-head. This is a significant
11-9.
change in terms of the way things are. Not just even meeting in a final, but the way this game has gone, match has gone so far. It's very different from their previous encounters. Maybe it is, as you said, a little bit from Ohori not firing at the kind of efficiency that she wants. That's another shot. I mean, the error count, unforced error count from her has been, for her, much bigger than usual. Rattled. But certainly in Indonesia, yes, this is going to be very welcome. Well, as we said earlier with the mixed doubles, 16th point is really going to be where it starts playing on Ohori's mind. Right now, she's still got a little bit of time. That's a good winner. But imperative for her to pick this up. Well, the last women's singles winner was back in 2009 here. That was Maria Febi Kusumastuti. I remember her.
I remember her too.
Yeah. Since then, no. And before that, it was Leni Permana in 2001, 2002. And that was it for women's singles. Those of Indonesian winners. And I'll tell you one thing, they weren't 7 or they weren't 18 when they did it. No Tunjung on that list at all. Well, of course, these days, Gregoria Mariska Tunjung has also elevated her game. She's now really taking it to the likes of Chen Yufei and Yamaguchi. And I wonder what she's thinking of this. 14-11.
I'd like to think that Tunjung's watching this match with
Oh, yeah,
great
I'm sure
interest,
she is.
cheering Wardoyo on.
I'm sure there's a lot of women's singles players that are watching this match now, actually. They also watched the Uber Cup, and they saw what this was all about. And Aya Horia kind of delayed a bit. She, as I said, she was almost a victim then. Certainly looks like she's in Wardoyo's sights. Now, Wardoyo has 2 challenges left, and so it's very much worth trying this one. I didn't really get a good look at it. Now, that's almost in a different stadium.
Challenge unsuccessful. Service over. 12-14. Play.
1 challenge left for each of them. Ohori 2 points back. This would be an ideal place for her to tie it up. She was caught out there.
Well, it's a Yamaguchi shot.
Maybe she actually learned it from Akane, but I mean, just pulling it out. Look at that. No look. Ohori's reaction says it all. She didn't move.
I think that's the desired outcome.
Yeah. but I mean, really
That's right,
didn't
really
move.
didn't
I mean,
move.
was like, you know, what am I supposed to do? Didn't move, as opposed to.
It's such a good shot that Aya Ohori was not even closing in on the net,
Yeah.
and already it passed her.
Oh, that's gone. And there's
Service over.
a welcome fist pump from Ohori.
13.
She's got the serve back.
Box.
Straight to the body. Good plan when you're 2 points down.
14. 15.
That's a costly error, and she has got her 16th point. Ester Wardoyo is now
14.
5 points away from the championship. That's the kind of understanding that will come with time,
15.
reading those
16.
corners. Again, that's lack of experience at the back. And Ohori gets a lifeline.
And a
16 all.
combination with having the good side for Ohori.
That's right, yeah. So it has been proved that very slight, but it works. Still, a lot of work to do for Ohori, though. Both of them firing, trying to win the point.
Finally, that's an Ohori special.
That is a good shot from Ohori, and effectively her first lead at 17-16.
16.
Talk about leaving it late. I think a reminder there from
Thank you.
Joshua Ho about flash photography. Packed stadium here at Key Center.
Esther.
Again, it's an Ohori special.
Makes the most of being a left-hander as
Yeah.
well.
That left to right is, if she gets it,
Change the shuttle.
special.
Esther.
That's what she's been retreating back into, her fundamentals that work. So, Ester Wardoyo with some thinking to do now, because this is the first 2-point lead
18.
for Ohori. She did leave it
16.
very late. And I think she's done enough to rattle the youngster.
19-16.
Oh, this is great for Ohori. It's going to give her a great confidence boost. She's just not making it easier on herself, is it?
17-19.
Tightened up her play quite well those last 3 points. It's very wide.
It's very wide. I thought it was the right shot to go down the line, though.
Yeah, definitely the right shot selection was good, but you need to have that quality in there. So serve with Wardoyo, and all of a sudden, pressure building again.
So actually intelligent of Wardoyo to tempt Ohori to go for that shot.
Well, it looked for a second that that Ester was looking for the big shot, and I think that she is going to have to pick a different strategy. Oh, how did that come back? And it didn't come back. So, 2 game points against the run of play, I think we're going to have to say. But Ohori's not going to mind. She can take this to a decider. She's going to have another 21 points to try and win this championship. Slight tightening up from Ohori from that side. Slight weakening from Wardoyo on this side. And that's what's led to this situation. That's in. As I said, going for the big shot. She's always looking to go and kill that point as soon as possible.
20.
And that kind of shot's a little bit easier for someone of Wardoyo's height, stature. She wouldn't have had to suddenly go down on her knees a little bit. No adjustment required to be able to get that trajectory downwards.
Oh, this is an absolutely crucial serve. The slightest drop into front court, and Ohori has done it 21-19, and she lives on.
The stadium erupts.
Yep, she's got fans, no doubt about it. And it's game on after 46 minutes. So this is it, the decider. And based on their last meeting in the Uber Cup, it's only right.
Play.
Oh, Wardoyo now starting from that slightly better side of the court. Of course, they will change mid-game. That's now the error from Ester.
1 love.
Well, I wonder, Aaron, if we're going to see a much calmer Ohori now that she has won that second game, even though she snatched it literally at the death.
I'm looking for that too, but I was interested to see, and it came through, all that professional skill that I was talking about, channeling your inner Saina Nehwal, playing through while you haven't got your signature shot, you're not feeling good. It's also a soft skill that she would have been training for. Had to really pull on that quality.
Well, 3 mistakes from Wardoyo, 3 points for Ohori.
Service over. 1-3.
Power is too much, too surprising.
2-3.
That's twice now.
Ohori. You would think she'd be looking for it by now, but
yeah,
maybe she is, and it's still the quality too good.
Well, you know, they have said there are some players, Yamaguchi's another one, where they almost have a separate brain in their arm, so no matter whether they're off balance or wherever they are, that arm will still kind of play the shot that needs to be played. And she's certainly got that ability to play off balance, Wardoyo, and still come up with not just something half decent, but most of the time a winner. Trying to set up herself, Wardoyo. That's her first crack at it.
That's a signature from Ohori.
Well, the longer the rally goes, the more it's playing into Ohori's hands. Oh, that looked like it just might have been heading out.
Ohori likes to give the audience these gasping type shots.
45 shots, longest rally at the beginning of the third.
That was a more Ohori-esque rally. Maybe even the first that we've seen in the whole match. We've had to wait.
Well, I reckon that she would have definitely picked up, or at least settled some of those nerves, because it was looking pretty scary by even up to the 15th point in the second game.
5.
Well, now that Ohori is becoming a little bit more herself, I can begin to explain that Ohori generally, once she can feel the rhythm of her opponent, she thinks to instigate just a little bit more pace from herself, just to find slice opportunities.
Right. Because that
but she has to be able to read the pace of her opponent first and get used to it.
She tried to go left, right. Wardoyo didn't work. Now 6-2 down. This might even be the biggest lead that Ohori's had all match. She hasn't had very many leads.
Play on.
So Ohori tends to work best with micro opportunities in a long rally with high elevation.
And Wardoyo's definitely been scoring on intercepted short rallies with big shots. That one, though, has gone long. And this is worrying for Wardoyo, because that's the third that she's missed on that corner. So of Ohori's 7 points, I can count 4 of those points as being straight unforced errors by Wardoyo.
Service over.
Well, this could be the lull phase for Wardoyo.
That's true.
And Ohori's ahead. If you're a Japanese fan, you'd be hoping that Ohori can capitalize, even though she's getting to hot, but not quite hot yet.
Warm. She's warm.
She's
My
warm.
God,
I think she's a bit above lukewarm.
yeah,
We saw
just
lukewarm
simmering.
before. Simmering.
That's in. That's a classic.
Service over. 8-3.
Well, it was getting very tight for her in that second game. She had one challenge. She was trailing all the way up to 16th point. Tied it up at 16 all. And that's when Wardoyo had an apparent collapse, which she still hasn't really come out of.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Ohori
That
special.
is Ohori special.
9-3.
I just think Wardoyo is now a little bit confused as to what game she should be playing in the third. I think if it had gone into straight games, it was all going fine for her. But now it's like a little bit of playing into what Ohori wants, and that's why we're seeing these specials come out. That, again, is, I think, just down to experience and being 18.
Service
That's better.
over. 4.
But no doubt Ohori's
9.
tightened up the game a little. Just making a good few errors in that second game.
As we know with lulls, though, the lull does end. So
Yeah, but at some point, Wardoyo should kick back into life, especially from that side of the court. Bit late there, Wardoyo, with her feet. Just court shuttle watching. Wide challenge, I'm sure, coming. No,
5.
No.
9. Aya, stay on court.
I didn't actually see her leave court at all, but maybe the intent was there. Important serve for Ester.
Fault.
Big point for Ohori.
Service over. 10.
Now this could be telling.
5.
Ester's had both the mid-game interval breaks, games 1 and 2.
it must be said that there's a tremendous amount of athleticism that's going into this match from both the players. We can see them huffing and puffing. Maybe Wardoyo's not huffing as much, but you can see drenched in perspiration.
Yeah.
6-10.
Using up so much emotional energy, determination. Nerves also use up your energy. Singles is really sapping.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the amount of court coverage alone will get you.
And every time
Time
before you go
fatigue.
for a smash, you're thinking, well, if I hit it and they're in position, then it's going to come flying back. So there's a lot of thoughts before they hit one of those shots.
Now, Ohori trying to push here. That was a great drop. Now she's got control. Almost recovered by Wardoyo, but the experience and the skill, 11-6 at the third break, and it's a change of ends.
Judges, return to your chairs. Players back on court.
So back on court for the conclusion of this wonderful women's singles final.
Play.
just about to cross the hour mark, 58 minutes. Well, Aya Ohori's redemption in this singles final did come from that side of the court. And that's where she's finishing up. Oh, that was a great response from Wardoyo, and I really didn't think Ohori was expecting that to come back.
You know, JPN, I was thinking this, the lull from Wardoyo seemed quite uncharacteristic. I think she's waiting for her second wind because she gave it so much initial energy. And she could almost have taken in 2 games. It's the kind of gamble that singles players take.
It's obvious that that's what she wanted to do. She wanted definitely to finish this in 2. And it must have been very deflating to know when you're from that position, so far ahead in the second, to have to play a third. And that's where that kind of lag has happened. Ohori, conversely, has played well considering she's not on 100% top form. And now that she's ahead here, she seems to have rattled enough. Said Wardoyo's not dropping ahead. She's just not being as accurate as she was before.
And as I said, it's a gamble that singles players have to take, and they have to play to their own personality. But we've seen Xu Yuqi, I know it's the men's singles, but Xu Yuqi has come back from with a second win before, even though he's been really tired. We've seen that from him. So.
Well, there are so many factors of the game that Ester Wardoyo has to sharpen up on.
Well, that's what makes badminton an Olympic sport. It demands so many kinds of conditioning.
Well, she's looking a little bit more confident now, Ohori. There's that time, I think it was just at the end of the first game, where it really did look like she was wondering what was going on. She was spinning rackets in the air, and now she's forcing errors. And that's what's getting to Wardoyo, the fact that her best attempt at trying to return the shot like this, she was a bit late getting there. But it's just not a feasible shot, playable shot from there. 49, and Ohori looks like she's on her way to making this 3-0 head-to-head. Oh, she's out of position here.
Well, doing what Japanese players do best, and doing what Aya Ohori does best as well. Combine the two, and you have the result of that rally.
A little bit better from Ester. They've both had a bit of a lie down. But since Ohori was flawed, and that was also in the first game, she steeled herself. She's now, remember, I actually said Wardoyo was 5 points away from the title. Well, now Ohori is 6 points away. And also, ironically, 6 points ahead. Well, there's a bit of a lull in the game. I just wonder how different it would have been if any of the Chinese women's singles players have turned up in Australia this week. None in the 8 seeds. Han Yue, Wang Ji, Chen Yufei, Gao Fangji. But that's still taking nothing away from these two ladies. Nice. Second win, perhaps.
I would have liked to have seen an entry from Gao Fangji.
Yeah.
An opportunity to re-establish.
Well, she's certainly the one that probably could have made an appearance here. Wang Ji also not going to the Olympics, so she could have made an appearance. But, as I said, it's a very interesting part of the calendar because of the Olympics. There was always going to be some casualties in terms of entrance. That's about the 4th time that that's gone wrong for him from this side. And Ohori capitalizing well on Wardoyo's confusion in certain areas.
So there's a difference between what Ohori was going through and what Wardoyo is going through now. Ohori was missing shots before, unforced errors, based on getting her timing right. Wardoyo is missing because she doesn't quite have clarity, because she doesn't have second wind or full second wind yet.
And slightly doubting where she should be as well. A bit late to some of these shots. That was wonderful from Ohori. Took that point by the scruff of mid-stack. And she's closing in now.
I think there's a very famous match where Jonathan Christie might have been playing Victor, and Victor was ahead, very close to winning, but just was too tired, and then Christie came back like 10 points to win the match.
Service
That is
over.
very wide from Ohori.
11-17.
Well, if Wardoyo is going to make a spectacular comeback, I'd say 3 points off this serve would be very, very useful, if not more. Oh, wonderful shot, man. Just weighted that perfectly.
12-17.
Well, there's no question Ohori is also fatigued. Hard to launch for that next shot.
Yeah.
She might have got it at any other point earlier
Certainly
in the match.
looked like it was a
Launch speed becoming an issue for Ohori. Maybe more net shots.
well. That's it. I mean, that's a great way for Wardoyo to win these points. If that's the case, she's shown that she's pretty useful around the net.
But that would be a gamble too, because it would mean that Wardoyo will have to think, can I cover the rear court when it lifts to the back if I'm tired myself?
Yeah, and then she'll, of course, could be caught on the flanks. That's wonderful. I think that second win you're talking about has just kicked in.
And a gift from Ohori from not hitting high enough to a player who's not that tall. It's
so
a mistake I wouldn't have thought we would see from Ohori. Very inexperienced type mistake, but we all make them from time to time.
So Ester Wardoyo now has the shuttle in her court, every sense of the word. She's going to turn this around. For a second, I thought that was in.
18.
Well, Wardoyo can always count on that
13.
arm strength. She hit too hard while she was still roughly about center court.
Well, she has left this comeback late, but there is still daylight on the scoreboard. And if she can hold, I mean, look at what Ohori did. She tied up at 16 last time. But it has to be very smart play from Ester, and obviously no mistakes allowed once you hit 18. Oh, that's wonderful.
Very good from the Indonesian. Yeah, second win coming through. We can see Wardoyo's more alert to the opportunities.
Well, whatever happens today, she can be happy with this performance and her run in Sydney. Once again, Ohori looking like that was over. Didn't expect it to come back. Actually reacted pretty well, considering. But reflex defense from Wardoyo, and she's still in it.
So we have two tired players. One's just more tired than the other, but
losing a little bit of
No delay.
accuracy. Yeah, I said they're both tired, and no delay comes in. So harsh for these players. That's a little bit worrying for Ohori. She was so far back, and Wardoyo was so obviously going to play that net shot.
and we pointed out that the
16-18.
launch speed from Ohori is not what it was
So
from
that's
earlier
all-
in the match.
Yeah, that's what Wardoyo has to do. She just has to put some distance between Ohori and that shuttle, and a little bit of angle probably help as well. 16-18. That's high. Ah! Both of them playing right at the edge. Ohori manages to come through.
Ohori's so careful on that net shot as well.
Helped a little bit by the tumble, but that doesn't take away from what she did there. She celebrated that point as if it was the championship. Lofted it over the 18-year-old. And both players with a slight break as the court gets mopped down. Oh, if only she managed to keep
Check the ball. Thank you.
her general posture, but she was already falling when she took that net return.
A twist in the tail is still possible.
It's possible. It is possible.
Thank you.
That's what I said about never, you know, getting ahead down, never kind of losing it. She's always pushing it to the edge. She did that with Supanita. She did that with Kim Garam. It came out on top. She did it with Ohori before. And one day, as I said, over the next couple of years, she's going to learn how to direct these third games. Because right now, it's almost like it's just the energy and the passion that's driving her to do it. Oh, what a shot. She went for the big shots. She could have gone down the line. So it's 4 championship points after turning it around at 16 all in the second game. Ohori is on the brink of her second title in 2024.
Ester. Badminton World.
She's done it. 21-16 in the third. Smile of relief. And it's 3-0 on the head-to-head, but wow, that was quite the match, Harry.
I've never seen anybody so happy.
Yeah, she's really over the moon, and it's a very, very different Ohori from the one that we saw Well, up to the 16th point in the second game.
Ohori, 17-21, 21-19, 21-16.
Well, that's 2 titles, and there's confirmation of it. 17-21, 21-19, 21-16. Ohori, the new women's singles champion at the Australian Open. So they will now move off to the trophy presentation. And Ester Wardoyo, I'm sure, is going to be happy, even with a runner-up medal. It's a great performance from her.
Please welcome the finalists of the women's singles to the stage.
So big congratulations to Ohori. Up next, it's the women's doubles final. Lai Beijing and Lim Chu Sen from Malaysia taking on Febriana Dwi Puji Kusuma and Amalia Cahaya Pratiwi. Don't go anywhere.